The film opens with a banker named Will hiding inside a hotel. He is cooking when he hears a noise outside. When he checks, he finds a reindeer, which angers him. Suddenly, some officers barge in and arrest Will. Will declares, "I'm ready to fully assist the police." Just then, Officer Denny arrives and confronts Will. Will says, "I'm ready to accept any deal you make." Denny tells him, "You have to testify against the Mafia gangster whose accounts you handle." He then replies, "I'll only do that if I get full protection and security." Denny discusses this with her fellow officer. The next day, Denny and Will are traveling back to London on a small private plane. Will finds the plane quite old. Denny tells him, "We had to arrange this plane to return as quickly as possible, and you should have considered this before hiding in this small town." Denny then calls her partner and tells her they will be back soon. Her partner retorts that the gangster mafia lawyers must have sensed this. "That's why you need to get that accountant, Will," she says. Just then, the pilot arrives and meets them, and the three are about to leave. The pilot notices Will talking in the background, and Denny also has a gun. The pilot asks about Will, but Denny does not say anything. Denny then says, "We should probably leave." The three take off, and the plane slowly moves forward. Will feels the plane shaking a lot. The pilot asks him to put on headphones so they can talk, and they start speaking. Will watches them talking from behind, and he also wants to speak. Meanwhile, Denny realizes the radio is off, and she says, "We should go back." The pilot then says, "It does not matter, they will reach their destination soon." Suddenly, a bird hits the plane and is killed. This frightens Will, but the pilot says it is nothing to worry about. It happens often. Just then, Will spots the pilot's ID from behind and is shocked because the face looks completely different from their real pilots. Will tries to tell Denny about it, but she can't hear him. So he throws a button at Denny. When he looks back, Will tries to tell the pilot, but the pilot is staring at him. So Will does not say anything and instead makes excuses, saying, "We should go back. I'm not feeling well." Denny refuses to go. Suddenly, she also notices blood on the pilot's clothes. She is unsure and starts talking about the route. She asks, "Who's your contact officer?" The pilot says, "The same officer assigned us to this." Renee says, "Our contact officer is a Pole, which is quite nice." The pilot replies, "Yes, he is a Pole. He's really nice and he paid me a lot for this job." Hearing this, Denny says, "I did not talk to any officer named Paul about this because there is not one." The pilot replies, "Oh, then that means you finally caught me." And the two begin fighting. The pilot tries to hit Denny, but she gives him a good fight. The pilot punches Denny, knocking him unconscious. He then tells Will, "Will, you should not have betrayed the gangsters," and he is now furious because he works for them too. Will says, "I'll give you $1 million. Just let me go." The pilot asks, surprised, "Where did you get so much money?" Will replies, "I used to steal small amounts from the gangsters, and he still does not know." The pilot answers, "You do not look so mean and cunning by the looks of it. But even if I take the money, I'll have to kill this girl, so there is no evidence left." Just then, Denny regains consciousness and electrocutes the pilot with a shocker, causing the pilot's cap to fall off and revealing he has no hair. Denny delivers a powerful shock to his neck, knocking him unconscious and throwing him away. Meanwhile, their plane is about to crash. Denny manages to control the aircraft and lifts it back into the air. Will then tell her to put the plane on autopilot. They see that the thug, the pilot, has fainted. Denny asks, "Will, are you okay?" Will replies, "No, I'm not at all fine, and now we have to deal with it." What should they do? Denny and Will thoroughly examine him and tie him up. Denny finds Mafia arrest papers and photographs of both of them in his clothes. Will notices that the pilot knows his mother's address, which frightens him greatly, fearing that the pilot could kill them. Denny retorts, "He is with us, so he will not do anything. We will get him off the plane and send him to jail." Then they discover that neither the GPS nor the radio on the plane is working. They try to fix the radio, and it works. This time, they speak to a man. Denny tries to talk to him, but the signal is very weak. Then Denny remembers she has a satellite phone and calls her fellow officer again. The officer asks, "Have you arrived?" Denny replies, "No. Our pilot attacked us because he is not the real pilot. The gangster mafia sent him to kill us. But now we are safe and have knocked that thug unconscious," she adds. The officer expresses relief and says, "We do not know how to fly the plane, so try to send someone to this line to help us." The pilot also gets up and says, "I can help you," then laughs. Denny says, "Well, tell me how to fly it." The pilot says, "No, no, I will not." Then Denny angrily threatens him with a gun. The pilot warns, "Firing a shot at the plane will upset its balance, and all three of us will crash." Denny tells him, "I'll send you to jail." He laughs and says, "It is no problem, because I've always been in jail." Then Denny's companions connect him with a captain, who starts asking everything about the plane. Following the captain's instructions, they take the plane higher into the air. But due to the absence of the GPS, they still have no idea where they are. Captain Denico slowly teaches Will how to fly the plane. The pilot then starts singing and threatens Will that he will go to Will's mother's house and kill her. This enrages Denny, and Will angrily asks, "How did this thug, this bad guy, get my mother's address? Because I never recorded this anywhere." Denny also finds this strange. Just then, she receives a call from a fellow officer, and the two discuss their next plan. The officer explains, "We went to your real pilot's house where we found his body. Someone had gouged out his eyes and cut off his ears and nose. That meant he was given a very horrific death." Denny then realizes that the thug from their plane was responsible for this. She asks her partner who else knew about the case. He says, "Me and my boss, Jack. We discussed it with the team and gave you the mission to bring Will back." Will then tell Denny that their plane is about to hit a cliff. Denny takes the plane up, and the tremors cause the pilot to grab a hidden knife, and the plane also crashes into an ice floe. However, it flies away safely. This frightens Will and Denny. The pilot tries to free himself with the knife, but he cannot bring it up, so he hides it, and Denny puts on his glasses. To taunt them, the pilot reveals that Denny is a personnel officer and was once tasked with protecting a witness, but she ended up failing to save the witness, and the witness died. Hearing this, Will is horrified, but Denny becomes furious. The pilot replies, "Oh, sorry, I should not have told you that." Denny angrily asks, "How do you know all this?" and starts hitting the pilot. He does not explain. Instead, he says, "Yes, you did not actually kill the person you killed. You burned him alive. And I also know that it was not you who did this, but someone else." Hearing this, Denny becomes even more enraged. She grabs the pilot and beats him severely. Meanwhile, the pilot takes off Denny's glasses and uses the pilot's stick to cut her rope. Denny becomes confused and nervous. Will then tell her to calm down. Denny reveals that 3 years ago, she was sent on a special mission in which she had to bring back a girl as a witness. The girl was in a hotel, so Denny talked to her and convinced her to become a witness. But the Mafia sent goons to the hotel, burned the girl down, and Denny could not save her. Denny's partner calls again. She tells Will that this man knows everything about Will, even about Denny, and that Will should talk to his boss about this, Jax. Someone on Will's team is leaking these things and spreading this information. Then the colleague says, "I trust my entire team." Denny asks, "Do you trust your boss, Jack?" He replies, "Yes, he is the most important person, and I do not think anyone would be leaking your information." Denny and Will's refusal to listen raises doubts and tension. So Denny calls headquarters and asks to speak with their boss, Jack, but is told that Jack, as usual, is on vacation in Hawaii, and they will contact him after speaking with him. A short while later, Jack contacts Denny again. She says, "Sir, my female colleague from your team works with the gangster Mafia, and she passed all our information to them." Hearing this, Jack asks, "Are you completely sure of this?" She says, "Yes, I'm sure." Meanwhile, Denny spots a shore. She tells the captain about it, and they start moving toward it, overjoyed. But then Denny remembers something and asks Will, "I read your file, which says you handle Mafia transactions, and I also learned that you send a portion of the money to Hawaii." Will replies, "Yes, we have to pay a weekly salary to an officer who fully supports the Mafia." Hearing this, Denny understands that the officer is none other than Jack. He is the real enemy. A gangster who is in cahoots with the Mafia, not her partner. So she calls her partner and tells her everything. She says, "I'm sorry. I suspected you. That's why I called Jack and told him, you are in cahoots with the Mafia. You are betraying us, so please take care of everything." Will replies, "You're crazy. You've ruined everything. Now hang up the phone and get lost. Let me handle this matter." The two head toward the shore, where they spot a ship. She relays its name to the captain, who locates it, and they are overjoyed. The captain then orders them to go the opposite way, and they begin heading that direction. Meanwhile, the pilot breaks free. He stabs Will and grabs Denny, snatching her gun. He then demands, "Who will save you both?" Will begins torturing the pilot. Will then pulls out a knife and kills the pilot. Denny also attacks the pilot with a flare gun, causing him further injury. Denny then stabs him again, knocking him unconscious. Will returns to find Denny badly injured and tells her he will not let her be hurt. Will is terrified and he pleads, "Please save my mom." Denny says, "I will not let anything happen to you." She begins treating Will. After a while, the pilot regains consciousness, this time handcuffed by Denny. The captain calls again. Denny tells him that Will is seriously injured and explains how she knocked the pilot unconscious. The captain says, "You will see a runway in a short while, and you will have to land your plane there. But it could be very dangerous." Denny agrees. Will, very nervous, says, "It is all my fault." Denny replies, "No, it is all the Mafia's fault." Will then confesses, "I stole a lot of money from the Mafia, around 10 million, and that's why I ran away. Then the police caught me, and now they're making me a witness. Now promise that if anything happens to me, you will save my mom from the Mafia." Denny says, "I will not let anything happen to you or to them." Just then, Denny receives a call from Jack. He says, "Denny, you were right. That partner of yours is the traitor. We went to apprehend her, but she had an accident and was killed." Denny then realizes Jack had killed her partner, and now she blames him for the betrayal. She says, "I know you're the traitor." Jack replies, "I'm not the one, you've misunderstood." Denny replies, "I'm not the one. I've found out everything about your base in Hawaii and the payment transactions you conduct there." Hearing this, Jack hangs up. The pilot asks Denny, "Why don't you just kill me?" Denny replies, "Because I'm nothing like you." The pilot replies, "You guys are really nothing like me, because you're worse than me." Will sees a plane coming to rescue them, which overjoys them. The pilot says, "Nothing will happen with this plane. You guys will not be able to land it. All three of us will die in it, and the gangster mafia will be saved forever." Just then, Denny spots the runway and starts steering the plane toward it. Meanwhile, the pilot breaks free from his handcuffs and attacks Denny. Denny then shoots him, severely wounding the pilot. She then takes control of the plane, and the captain tells her to calm down and explains how to land. Denny slowly lowers the plane. The plane shakes violently, but she lands on the runway and continues moving forward. Meanwhile, the plane's tires break, and the pilot is thrown out when the doors break. Just then, an ambulance comes from behind, crushing him and killing him. The plane comes to a stop, and the entire medical team gathers around them. Denny sees Will unconscious. She picks him up, and officers arrive and begin taking them both out. A girl tells Denny that the pilot was hit by a car and is dead. Denny replies, "It's a good thing. He deserved it." She then sees Will being taken away in an ambulance. A strange man silently walks into Will's ambulance. Denny runs to open the ambulance door and sees the man, posing as an officer, beating Will. She kills him on the spot, saving Will's life once again. Will is terrified, so Denny consoles him. Just then, Jack calls the killer who had come to kill Will. Denny answers. Jack asks, "Is Will dead or not?" Denny replies, "He's not dead. I saved him. But this time, kids, you're going to die. I will not spare you." With that, she hangs up. The officers are overjoyed to see that both men have survived. This is all due to Denny's bravery, and the film's story ends.